We are live. What's up, gentlemen? Nice to see you guys today, taking time out to talk about women, our favorite thing to talk about all the time.
Lemon.
But today we're gonna talk more about the dudes who act like women, who believe that the world owes them a savior or a Caesar or whatever, depending on the niche, to come save them again. Um, so today's topic is learned helplessness and why it's bad for men and that no one's coming to save you. So, Jack, what just happened a couple days ago that I don't want to talk about too much, but kind of showed everyone's ass in terms of like their mentality and of their, like their mental point of origin and realizing like, hey, people do really want other people to save them. Like I have a mortgage. I'm not going to do anything, but you should go out there and sacrifice your life, not me. So
Yeah, people's convictions are now being used against them to being put before a cart and invoke action while the people invoking it sit back and let others do the work for them. There's also a lot going around of other people wanting something to happen and still, like you mentioned, waiting for somebody else to do it. Now, in defense of a lot of people, I have seen a lot of people taking action, people who are in power, who now take matters into their own hands, where it's like, well, I have coworkers who celebrated the horrible event that happened, and now we're just going to make sure these people are no longer able to work on their function. Like, this is just horrible, and especially people in these certain positions of power cannot be trusted with said power if this be their reaction to the atrocity that occurred, so to say. Unfortunately, not everybody is like this, and the phenomenon that occurs with that is learned helplessness, where it's like they see what happened, and all they do is accept it. Oh, this is just the world. Like, this is just the opposition that does that, and there's nothing we can do about it. These people keep doing what they're doing, and all we can do is turn the other cheek, and that is just life. And they let life happen to them instead of them happening to life, if that makes sense. They let life make decisions for them, instead making decisions on their own life, which is unfortunately, yes, in these cases as well, things we're seeing. A good example, and more on a dating focused example, would be the guys who settle for behavior they do not want to deal with. Oh, that's just how she is. Oh, she just throws things. She just embarrasses me in public. She just yells at me.
it's
That
what
is
she
just,
does. It's the wife,
that's what
the
she
wife,
does. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just how she is. It's what she does. Not knowing that in those moments, they have the keys to their own cage. They have the power in their own life to tell her, or they don't even need to tell her. They can just leave. And because of that learned helplessness, they do not see the opportunity they actually have of taking themselves out of said situation where they're being treated like a second grade citizen by the woman that so-called loves them. That, to me, is the best description I can give of learned helplessness. Not knowing you actually have the power to walk away from a situation where you're being treated in a manner you're not, that you don't want to be treated as.
Okay. What about you, Arch? Arch, you're muted.
Hold on.
Now I'm not muted.
Okay, awesome. Cool.
Yeah, there's a fun example about that, Jack, actually. So the good Lord's given me two wives. And I remember having this moment with my second wife that was so different with the first. Like, so you're at the grocery store, you're at the spice aisle, and they just have like these bottles and bottles of spices, and I'm looking for like something specific. I think it was garlic powder that day or something. And my eyes are bugging out. There's so many different brands, and I want to figure out which one's the best price. So I'm taking a step back so I can see more with my eyes. I'm about to back into someone coming the other way with her shopping cart. That was my first wife at the grocery store. And she shouts at me, "Look out, dumbass." And then she looks at the person who's coming their way, "I'm so sorry about my husband." And I'm like, you motherfucker. But like, I had a similar situation with my second wife. Like, I think we weren't even married yet. We were still dating. We were at the grocery store shopping for ingredients for shrimp. And, I don't know if it was a spice house or somewhere else, but like her hands on my arm and she's pulling me closer like she's going to hug me. And she stops me from backing to someone else, just very quietly and respectfully. And I'm like, she did not make me look bad. The first wife's like, I'm not with this guy. He's a dumbass, not me. Or the second wife is like, she does not want to make me look bad because that would make her look bad. And no, Jack just kind of prompted that example, in my mind. Like thinking about, having two wives, I got two data points to pull from. Your mileage may vary.
Oh man, I mean, that's why I keep telling guys just date more, because the more you date, the more examples you will have of how you don't want to be treated.
Yeah,
and you get a
definitely.
reflection point of how you treat yourself. Because let's be honest here, most of other people's behavior aimed towards us is behavior we invited ourselves. Now, not always, in extreme cases, absolutely not always, but you get what you tolerate, is what I'm trying to say here.
People are as
You
shitty
get
as
what
you
you
let them be or
tolerate.
something. Someone would
Yeah,
like that
some guy wrote about that, from the
internet
Holy
misogynist.
Land.
But I guess circle back to the topic at hand. Like, I mean, there are big people in this world and there are little people. I mean, if something I piss in my keyboard can get a guy to go to the gym, or get a guy to go from completely undateable to having a fat mean girlfriend, just little improvements in the world. Like people who get invested in how the world ought to be, who want the world reforged in their image of the ideal. Like, how many men and how many guns do you have? I mean, you're going to need an army for that. At that point, like, well, I'm going to vote, for this guy, and then he's going to go change the world. He never does, and you want that. And then there are 20 other people thinking the opposite. They hate your politics or your view, and so they're going to vote for their guy's going to change the world. Nobody ever changes the world the way you want, and just I can vote my way out of my problems, or one day crypto moon, I can buy my way out of my problems, or I can move somewhere else where the women will be different, and that's how, whatever. Like, there's something else out there, a force bigger than me, and I just have to like hook onto that force, and then my life will be better. Like it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, instead of deciding for themselves, I now want my life to be better, so I'm going to make choices that will lead towards life being better than what it is now. They keep thinking an external force, an external figure, whomever that may be, will change it for them. But
And
that's
maybe
never
you
going to happen.
fail. Like maybe you're trying to be super Chad and you stall out. You end up with a fat mean girlfriend. Then you end up with a string of fat mean plates. Then you get in shape and you have a slightly less mean girlfriend or something. And small improvements. And maybe that's where you bottom out. You plateau. That's your life. You've still improved it. You picked a direction. You tried to go. You tried to make it happen. And maybe you didn't succeed at everything, but you took ownership. You did something. The consequences that happened were your responsibility. The good things were your responsibility. And it was all you. You're not like someone needs to come and fix women and tell them what's what. We'd have like a meeting of the sexes and make things work out or something. And us internet pundits will be like sitting at the table working this out. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, she doesn't know you. She doesn't care. That's the whole thing with holding women. It's like, oh, when women just get their head out of their ass, it's never going to happen. It is never going to happen. The only woman who will get, the only woman that will get her head out of your ass is the woman you're fucking. And even then, it's not a given. Even then, it's a maybe.
Or the women that work for you, in terms of like, if you're an employer, the women that work for you, if they care about the job,
If. That's a big
yeah,
if.
And
Even
maybe
then, they
your
might just go
children,
to it.
and then your children until 16, and then from there you're just like, well, I taught you enough. Don't be stupid.
Well, even with the children, I mean, Rob gets into a lot of, or he used to get into a lot of back and forth with tradcon parents, where it's like, look, just because they're your kids doesn't mean they're going to listen. Oh, but mine will listen because I'm an alpha dad. It's like, that doesn't mean jack fuck all shit. It just the acknowledgement alone of you realizing a kid can retaliate gives you so much more leeway than when it happens, instead of thinking, oh, but my kid's never going to do it. My kid's a good kid. My kid was raised. It's like, okay, have fun.
That fat goth theater kid with cutting scars in her forearms who uses drugs, she has a middle-class alpha dad too.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Stripper, what's your definition of learned helplessness?
I like to go with the Ryan Stone one, where it's essentially a coping mechanism for rejection and the fear of consequences.
Okay.
Fear of being left. That's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Or even
Well,
if it's
that's
not
the
my
fear of
fault, it's his fault.
abandonment. It's more like, so let's use like a corporate example, actually. So you're stuck in a crappy job. And when you started the job may have been good, but you kind of get shit on and you're scared, like, that you might get fired because this was a good job. It was a better job than you always had. And they keep piling more and more and more on you. And at a certain point, you decide to speak up. But when you do, the hammer's brought down on you, right? If that hammer's brought down on you enough times, what happens as a coping mechanism is you essentially build it in your mind that you can't change anything. And it carries over to any other avenue in life where it's just like, that's the way it is, right? You see that with guys who kind of bitch about their wives being in the doghouse, like, oh, I better not do this or else I'll be in the doghouse, or I better not do this. And like, it never even occurs to them that they're married to like a 5'4", 120-pound woman and she can't actually do anything. And then B, like, have you ever tried just saying, this is what I'm going to do? And when she bitches and moan, give her a kiss on the forehead and say, love you, and just walk the fuck out the door and do what you were going to do anyways? Like, no, it's because they've built a coping mechanism of they're basically stopping themselves from taking action when it benefits them, because they've been kicked in the nuts so many times that it's easier to lose before you try than try and win.
I talked to a married guy, and he's like, I don't want to make my wife mad by doing this. I'm like, why? What's the worst she can do? Not have sex with you? She's not having sex with you now, dude. Like, you might as well go enjoy golf or go to the gym or whatever it is you like doing. It's not like, what else she gonna do? Like, is she gonna divorce you for doing this? If she could divorce you for doing this, she was gonna divorce you for something else tomorrow anyway. Just go do what you want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly it, right? Like, it's just guys who walk on eggshells and are scared of their wife's emotions. Which I do understand, because from a psychological level, like, we're actually kind of programmed to respond to women freaking the fuck out. Uh, but once you get past that, it's just like watching a toddler have a temper tantrum, right? You got to pat them on the head, say, you're being silly, and you just go about your day.
It's almost as if they are the most responsible teenager in the household.
Yeah. It's
Almost.
fair to say that this particular toddler, though, can also, control your sex life to some degree and can divorce you. So, to some extent,
Wording, Arch, wording.
Can we now phrase that differently?
Teenager, not toddler, whatever. I mean, that's I don't know if that's better or worse. Okay, well, rewind a sec. This woman in your house can, to some extent control your sex life and or divorce you. So you do want to have some awareness of her emotions, but much like with your toddler, the emotions are never about what they're about. She's not mad about the dishwasher or the toilet seat. She's mad because she doesn't want to have sex with you because you're a fuck up. Your actual kids will be mad about different things, but when you see behind the message and like what's really going on here, she's telling you how she feels. And so, if you, God forbid, argue, you're going to start arguing about, like what she's saying, you're ignoring how she feels. It just offends her even more. Like, once you can kind of see past that first layer, it really is someone having a tantrum. You have to address the feeling in an appropriate way. I don't want to say an age-appropriate way, but we're having this toddler teenager thing going on. But you address that feeling, and then you can use that second layer of the message of where you want to aim.
Something like that happened to me recently. So the Belarusian chick, I'm looking for a place in Batumi right now, and she has offered me her place to stay. And I'm like, okay, I appreciate it, but I am not looking to live together right now. Like, no, I want my own home. I want my own place, especially since that I'm leaving now. It's probably going to be permanent. Where it's like, no, I want a place of my own. But she was kind of being passive aggressive about it, where it's like, well, as long as it's really because you just want your alone time and not to fuck other women. I'm like,
are you dating this woman, Jack?
Yeah.
How long have you known her?
Not long enough to be like, look,
moving in together.
It's like, that's not going to happen. But I was like, you know what? I can go against this, or I'm just like, okay, how do you mean? She's like, oh, I'm just a little bit worried about it. I'm like, Okay. And when I was there already, have I given you the impression I was doing that? No, I'm just worried about it myself. Oh, okay. Well, I understand that something like that worries you. I am a very handsome man, and I indeed do very well with the foreign ladies, so I get it why you're worried. But you know what? I'll make sure they'll look like you. And she's just like, God damn it. But she's like, well, thank you at least for letting me express these worries and not like just laughing about them, but actually, letting me do my thing. I'm like, yeah, small effort. Like if
How
she
many
would
of
have
these
pushed,
how many of these calls to action that we see on the internet now, that we've been seeing in the past couple days, weeks, are just men having a lot of trouble understanding their limited power in all of this? Um, like, for example, I see the doxing, and yes, they're getting people fired and all that stuff. But we're actually using Karens to our advantage. The right's using Karens to their advantage. Finally, they're actually being strategic for once. Um, but I say this, like, they're just gonna dox back whenever their martyr, whoever martyr they have dies, and we say, haha, it's just gonna be a ping pong back and forth of there's like a zero sum game. And I think people are starting to realize that outside of like maybe the 2,000 people we're gonna get fired, um, there really isn't much you can do, and I think that's very frustrating, and that's why they're constantly calling for other people, because they're just like, I have no power here. So how much of learned helplessness that we're seeing here on the timelines and on these, on the internet, is just people realizing subconsciously, I don't have any power, there's nothing I can do, someone else please save me.
Well, I think you have a lot of angry people. I wrote about this on my last Substack article, actually. Like, the internet is like this filter between people in the real world, where a guy's angry, something happens he doesn't like, and you just kind of like punch yourself out, saying mean crap on the internet. We should do this, we should do that, get this person fired, the world should be this way, women suck, people who look this way, people who vote this way, they all suck. And like, you say inappropriate things on the internet because you're angry. And eventually your anger kind of pitters out, you punch yourself out, and then you're just stuck with your original emotions. But when we do that on the internet, that almost like a filter, it prevents us from doing things in the real world. We're sitting in our chairs, like being angry on the internet. That's where we expend all of that energy, and then doom. The energy's gone. Now we're just hurt and afraid and no longer angry. We put all that energy out in the web, and we've avoided, for good or for bad, doing anything in the real world. Maybe you would have done something terrible you shouldn't do in the real world, or maybe you would have affected that actual change. I don't know.
Yeah, I believe that, and that's why I say, like, what's your plan? That's why I repeat it to people, because you only got the time, the years you spend trying to fix a problem that you can't fix, are years you never get back. And there's so much in front of you that you could do better, or maybe you're already doing good enough. Um, and really, you're not gonna get those years back, man. Like, I think back to my dad. What if my dad spent hours on the internet or calling people instead of like spending time with me? Do you think what did that achieve? Like, think about what's important here, and realize that as a man, you're a problem solving machine. If you give yourself a problem that you can't solve, you're just gonna be mad forever.
well,
You're gonna be
Also,
what
mad forever.
accept that you're a little man too, not a big man. Like, okay, there's a birth race crisis. Are you gonna go out there and try to fix society of women, or just have another kid? Like, if you're a little man, do little man things. Don't do big man things. You're not gonna change the world unless you have guns.
Yeah, with the other horrible thing that happened with the girl on the train. It's like, oh, government needs to. No. Stop relying on somebody else. What can you do today to protect your own kids? First of all, educate them. You do not go on public transport in New York City or some other high populated city. You do not use
Yeah.
public transport. Oh, but
For-
how
for
then do
Arch-
I get some? Oh, go ahead.
For Arch and Stripper, like, you would tell your wives now, like, hey, if we're going to a city, we're not riding public transportation unless it's like an Eastern European city and the population matches the actual country. Like, I told my girlfriend, like, public interviews, it's done. You're not going to go outside with a sign and with something radical on it. You're not doing that. I'm sorry, it's done. It's not.
Oh,
Continue,
Don't
Jack.
go to cities.
Even on a personal note, like learned helplessness is a perception, right? Like you can always do something. Now, is that something going to have a massive societal change? Probably not. But to think that you can't do anything is just a coping mechanism. Like, for example, I'm in Canada, and 20 years ago, you could just leave your door unlocked and everything was fine. Canada is no longer that way. And the government's not doing much to address that issue. And for example, with my family, we have a break-in protocol. Like, they know exactly what to do, what room to go to, how to handle it if intruders come in with firearms, an escape plan, and everything. And they have certain tools that I have given them to help assist in the event that happens. I hope it never happens. I hope I never have to use any of the tools that I have, but my family is educated and we know what to do. And that's something you can do. No one is stopping you from doing that.
Yeah, that's personal action, personal responsibility. Jack, you were saying something?
About the girl on the train. Where was I going with that? Where you just put your daughter and your other kids down, where it's like, you do not use public transport by yourself. Let's say your daughter or whatever goes against you, and it's like, well, I needed to go somewhere. Don't go alone. Just never go alone. If you need to do it, wait for a friend. Wait for somebody to go with you. At least
Ubers
make
have
sure
female drivers now. Yeah, Ubers have female driver only option now. Take a female only, even if you got to pay $10 more. Like, honestly,
like, call me and let me transfer the €10 or the $10. Just know that I would rather pay a little bit more knowing that you take the safe option than you taking the easy option. Like, things like that. You don't need government for that. You don't need your councilman for that. You don't need anybody for that. You only need your own choices for
You
things
don't want to
like
over
that.
alpha male your children. Like, your daughter should have an
No.
understanding. I don't care where you are, how drunk or high you are, how much of your clothes are still on. I will always come pick you up 100% of the time. Like,
Yeah.
that's how you alpha male your family. You don't turn out this way. You save your daughter.
Well,
yeah,
that's,
what
I
my
mean, and
that's what my boss said in the military. Like, I don't care if you have all the whatever you did. If you feel like you're gonna get in a car somewhere and drive drunk, call me. I will get up at 3 a.m. and I will pick you up. My wife will be pissed at me, but I will do it.
like,
So
art stripper, like, I'm not a parent, but I am of the idea, because it's nothing more than that, and I haven't put it into practice, that the more open and acknowledging you are of the evils in the world with your kids, the faster they will come to you if they're actually in a problem, if they're actually in trouble, where it's like, look, I know you're gonna become a teenager, you're gonna go drink, you're gonna go out, you're gonna try and experiment with drugs, whatever. I'm not gonna tell you shouldn't do it. I'm gonna tell you what could happen. I'm gonna tell you what I would like you to do with them. But if something goes wrong after you've done those things, I will not be angry with you. Call, for the love of God, call me. Like, I know I can't prevent you from doing it, but I at least can be there when you do it.
Yeah, that's the approach I've always taken with my kids, is to be brutally honest about the way the world is instead of the way the world I want the world to be. I don't think it does any service to kids to keep them bubble wrapped from society. And I'm really lenient as a parent, but I have, when the boundaries are crossed, you fucking know it. If that makes sense. I've always believed giving my kids the largest sandbox to play in, but it's guarded with laser sharks and barbed wire and auto turrets. If that analogy kind of makes sense. But yeah, no, like my kids know what to do, what not to do. But at the end of the day, they are their own individuals and they will make choices. And I just hope that I've given them the tools to make sound decisions, because that's really all you can do as a parent, right?
Yeah, that's weirdly enough, I always knew with my dad, where it's like, if, okay, maybe not that one time when I got arrested on his birthday. That was the only time I can remember where I was like, please don't call him. Just don't. And they did. And I was like, fuck. And that was the only time where I was like, please don't call him. But every other time when I was in a mess or whatever, it's like, you call dad, you call your father, because I knew he was there. But he was never like, you can't do this and you can't do that. He was always like, look, you're going to get into trouble anyway. I just want you to know that I'm here when you get it. And then afterwards, then we'll have a talk. But, just don't be in it. Don't die kind of thing. And,
They
but
pull away from you the older they get. Like, your baby needs everything. Like my 3-year-old, you're trying to put his shoes, like, I'll do it. He takes his shoe, he tries for 1 second, it's like, Daddy, I need help. And he has no shame. He's like, I want to do it. Then like 2 seconds, I want help. He's fine. But like my
dude,
14-year-old, like she start in high school now, I have no idea what's going on in her day-to-day life. But I know when she was younger, there were things she would hide from me and from her mom, and I'd be like, you have to tell us this stuff. It's like, but you'll be mad. And like, yes, damn right we will be mad. Let us be mad, and we will also help you. Whatever problem you're into, yeah, we'll be mad and we will help you. Let us be mad. Don't be afraid of us being mad. Like whatever other problem you're having, that's way worse than us being mad. You can deal with us being mad. You've dealt with that before. She kind of came around.
But that again, because you see a lot of parents and even like non-parents go like, oh, the teachers should fix this. It's like,
Teachers are the worst people on the planet. Like anybody who couldn't get a real job ends up being a teacher. My first
hey,
wife was
I
a teacher.
wanted to be a teacher. Just letting
She
you
got a
know.
master's degree in special ed. She felt the calling. She taught it at school, taught high functioning kids with autism. She was all the rage. I helped her grade papers, and like I had the good fortune of meeting all of her friends who were the most ill-behaved, drunken, promiscuous miscreants on the planet. They hate the teachers, they hate the parents, they hate whoever from their coworker cadre is not there right now is also a bitch and a cunt. Like they hate everyone and everything. They are not happy people. Like there are good teachers, but like then like at least 3/4 of them just ended up there because they couldn't get real jobs and haven't found husbands yet.
No, fair point. Fair
Yeah,
point.
I think it's kind of sick, right? When people use people's death as like a galvanizing tool, right? I understand that throughout history, like was it World War I was started over because of an assassination or something? I get it, but think of it like this: it isn't it isn't a good thing to be inciting or trying to say you're radicalized on the internet. When you say stuff like that, just know again, the left will have their martyr soon. It will be some black person or some liberal woman, or whoever. A Kyle Rittenhouse is going to shoot somebody in self-defense, and it's going to be a 2-year legal cycle and they're just going to dox everyone back. And right now, there's a guy who had the same name as the murderer, the assassin, and he got doxxed, and they came to his home, and he's a Republican, and he's like, no, I'm not. I have the same name, but it's not me. And that's what I'm saying, guys. Like in terms of like learn helplessness, no one's coming to save you. In your flailing, trying to find someone or trying to do something in the wrong direction or trying to like affect change, you end up really screwing yourself, right? It's like instead of talking to some girls, you start a podcast about how girls suck. What do you think
Hey,
is going to get you better? Girls suck, right? But not that much.
I
Not
mean,
that
I
much.
love it.
Maybe.
I love it when she sucks every morning. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. But
yeah,
it's
you
just
knew what's coming.
how much, honestly, like what I see, right? And I'll bounce this up with you guys. How much less groypers? How much less? What's another red right wing group? How much less? Whatever right wing group, right? Would there be if men weren't afraid of rejection from women?
That's a
It'd be
good
like
one.
90% less. Yeah, 90% less, right? Because ultimately, when you can't simply hack it, right? Even subconsciously, you join a collective that seems to be in the process of fixing the system to make it easier for you.
Well, would you say that it's not just the system they rely on, but virtues as well? As in, if they only had better virtues, all of this would just go over. And they're
Yeah, but then
still relying.
you need someone to install those virtues, and that's why, I got to be a groiper now because these hoes suck. And I'm like, uh,
It's also a matter of validation, though. Like, okay, so you've done everything you're supposed to. You've been a good person. You know, you got your degree, you got your job. You're saving for a house. You've done all the right things, and you still can't get laid because whatever, poor social skills or something. Someone in that position is also probably going to underperform in other areas of their life. They're going to have like poor friendships, poor professional outcomes, things like that. And so you have someone in this position, and he's done everything right, but he feels terrible about himself. He wants validation. He wants an online community of people who say, no, no, you are good. You are right. The system's wrong. You're like
Us
us. You're
versus
one of
them.
us.
Yeah, us versus them. Yeah.
But then they say, attaboy, you are good. You have all these virtues, and we see you, and just feeling that sense of belonging, for a guy who can't get laid, has been kicked in the balls his whole life. Like, that can feel pretty good. I mean, to some
Yeah.
extent, I mean, how did we end up as red pill dudes again? Probably something a little bit similar like that at first.
Well, that's why people hate the red pill because what's the first thing we say? Positive male identity and more power and sexual options in the marketplace. But it's like no one is going to give that to you but you, right? You can wait 100 years for a president to be like, all right, ladies, no more Instagram for you. You got to go out and get married. It's the law. That's never going to happen. We love women too much to make them do anything, outside of their own will.
You don't want to be married to someone who doesn't want to be there. It's not great.
Yeah, yeah. And that's another thing. Um, they don't get that portion of the learned helplessness. It's like, yeah, you get your theoretical Russian mail order bride or something because Ben Shapiro said so. But if you love your wife, why would you want her to be with someone that she's not attracted to? You know? And what
Yeah.
is it called? Archwing, I'm glad you're here. What is it called when a woman's unhappy in a marriage? What is she a victim of? You don't have to say
Oh,
the word. You don't have to say the word, but we're referencing your work and all that stuff. I'm sure Stripper's probably written about this as well.
takes a
Jack,
toll on her psyche, I'm sure.
but I say that in like Twitter spaces and everyone goes silent. And even the girls go silent because I'm just like, listen, guys, if you love your wife, why would you force her to have sex with someone who she's not attracted to? And they're like, because God. And I'm just like,
Why would God want that for women? Like,
why
what God do you worship?
bro? Yeah, that's a wicked God because God wants, and
Hey, have you
again,
read the First Testament? That guy is vicious.
yeah, well, there's the
Tell
First
you.
Testament God, the Old Testament God, and the New Testament. Two different,
Yeah, Old
one
Testament,
got
not
a little
first.
softer. Yeah, he got a little softer later on.
I
Yeah.
just like this
Um,
knife to Eve is going to smite women with sex they don't want for eternity. I mean, I guess that's pretty damning
I mean,
punishment.
the sequel always sucks.
and when I say, hey, you're alone in this, a lot of guys pout and get angry and call us degenerate. But I'm like, dude, you are the hero in your own story. Right? You are the hero. Like no one is coming to say when we say that, a lot of men are like cheering us on. They're just like, yeah, because they like it sounds alpha, it sounds masculine. Oh yeah, I'm a warrior. I'm out there by myself, you know, figuring it out. But then when you really get to their psyche, they're actively looking on the internet for people that think like them. Right.
Well,
And we had a guy, me and Jack did a huge space yesterday. There's like 600 people went in there. And we talked. There was this guy named Manco saying, "Hey, they're killing us and they're doing this to us, and us, we, us, should, whatever." And I said, and I looking back, and I've known him, and he's a decent guy. He's just emotional, right? Okay, cool. But in his personal life, he has a hot Japanese girlfriend who's probably going to be his wife. If he looked for other people like him to get everyone together to like fight, I don't know, picket, fight, whatever, be vigilantes, how much of those men are going to look at him happy in his relationship and be like, wow, you're going to marry a Japanese wife and not a white wife? You're a traitor. And that's what I'm saying. Like this learned helplessness, all it does is really the people that are going to hate you the most are going to be the people next to you when you don't feel their ideal. They're going to meet their heroes or their other people that are like them and realize, wait, these guys are not like me at all. This guy's marrying a Japanese woman, and he should marry a white woman. This is wrong. And this guy, and that's what happens with the Groypers, and that's what they do every time a group of guys gets together. What do? Oh, you're a ginger marrying a black guy, or you're actually Hispanic. You're not a real Groyper, and they do this, and it goes nowhere. They're never going to organize because they're so obsessed with this ideal Ubermensch person that everyone has to be, and none of them can reach it, and that they're stuck forever. They're going to be stuck there forever.
Not only that, it is also the resentment of success that comes to play with that. If one of the tribes, sort of say, does get out of it and does it his way, like he gets a Japanese wife with tiggle bitties, tiggle Asian bitties.
She's hot, by the way. She
Oh, I
look through the
believe it.
timeline.
I
Yeah, she's hot.
am coming around slowly but surely. I've seen South Koreans and I'm like, maybe Nuke's onto something. Maybe. I'm still not getting rid of my blondes, but what happens is that when a guy shows he can do it in lifting, it's the same thing. Very good example. Let's say, like birds of a feather flock together. And one of the guys who's done with video games, drugs, weed, drinking, whatever, and he's like, you know what? I love hanging out with you guys. I still want to play video games, but I'm kind of done with the weed. I'm kind of done with drinking. I want to live a healthier lifestyle. You will not see a group turn vindictive as fast as that, because what that shows is that all the other guys can do the same. It's the crabs in a bucket mentality.
Oh, it's
like,
men being raised as defective women, right? That's a
mhm.
complete feminine thing, right? Like,
Yeah, everything's an attack. It's always about
Yeah.
them.
Yep, exactly. Like, I can be thankful that I've never been envious of my friends. In fact, I'm probably their biggest cheerleader. But like, I have friends who are insanely financially successful, and I've never felt the need to put them down or not take joy in their success. Those are the choices they made, and they worked hard for it. I have my life. I don't care about money that much. I just need enough to live like semi comfortably. I have other priorities, and I'm knocking it out of the park right now. When you get a group of guys who have this weird fucking ideology of like, this is the way men should be, none of them are actually living the life they want to. They're bitching and moaning and having a testicular cancer meeting, all to commiserate about this ideal of a life that they think they should have.
There's
It's
that
a
word.
yeah,
My
it's a
wife
really
thinks-
weird thing.
My wife's a therapist, and she often tells her clients, like, they're usually bored housewives, and they struggle with like people pleasing tendencies, perfectionism, anxiety. And the therapist saying is, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Like, it's like a lot of guys are like, well, what's the point? If I'm not going to become like, I'm only like 5'10" and my face looks like this. If I'm not going to be super jacked, women falling out of the sky, right into my apartment without even going on dates, why am I doing any of this? Like, if you can go from unfuckable to like, having a fat girlfriend, like you've improved. You have sex in your life, but you're not going to let yourself do that because you have to be like super champ with women falling out of the sky. And apply that to any aspect of life. Why do this unless white girlfriend, or why do this unless like the right kind of guy, the marriage lifestyle or whatever. Like any aspect of life, like if it has to be perfect, it has to be a certain way, that's going to get in the way of accepting things that are fine.
Well, and what happens then as well is that a lot of guys, like the learned helplessness, to get back to that, is that they're so used to failing that every opportunity of success therefore must be a route to failure anyway. And they don't even take it anymore. It's like, you know what? That guy, he just got lucky. That guy, he has to, man, the amount of times I heard this bullshit, and stop me if you heard this one. Oh, you just have time to spend 6 days of the week in the gym. I only go 3. And it's like continuously they think of something. Oh, but you don't have kids.
That's the next one. I'm glad you mentioned that, Jack. It's the next part of one of this where, like, yes, we talked about the kind of the political side, but like men in their own dating lives. And then for you guys that are married, below us, a single or not married guys. I'm not single. Sorry, I'm not single. I'm in a
Am
relationship.
I the only single guy here?
Yeah,
I
well,
sort of.
You're married to the Belarusian chick, right? You're married, common law.
No.
You're ready
Married?
to move
You're
in.
about to be?
But hell no.
You're going away to Georgia together.
No.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up, Jack, because like another thing I see is that there's another coin. There's another side of this learned helplessness stuff, which is you tell men like they have a problem, which is like dating, right? And they want to apply the old order rules, like I would just want to find a good girl in church, or I would just want to find a good girl in college, or I just want to find a good girl at the library or something. And you're like, sure, that's all possibilities. But hey, us guys that are normal, not crazy, not trying to like rob you of $100, hundreds of dollars in courses, Here's what I learned, and we're normal guys. Some of us are married. Some of us have our second kid on the way. Some of us, write books.
Not
and all that.
$100.
Yeah, and this is what we did to win because we don't care about being right. We just want to know how do we solve this problem. And they're like, but I got to go to the gym and I'm tired. And I'm like, yeah, I was working 100 hours a week in the military and I still went to the gym. This is how I did it. No, but then I don't want to buy expensive clothes. I get that, but here's where I bought cheaper clothes that look good. I went to this and I found this special. And you keep giving them solutions, and giving them solutions is like an attack on their identity, which is victimhood.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm gonna have a really weird real life analogy. So stick with me. But
All
years
right.
ago,
Holding on for dear life. We're holding on
I'm
for dear
gonna
life.
pee. Be right back.
yeah. Years ago, I used to manage a secondhand store, and kids would come in wanting to play guitar, and they would focus so much on the equipment that they need to get in order to play guitar. And eventually it got to the point where like a parent would come up because they're looking at $600-700 guitar plus equipment and all that shit. And they would say, like, what does my kid need to have in order to learn to play guitar? And my response was always the same: anything with 6 strings and the dedication to actually learn.
Maybe a guitar lesson or something, say like it's
Yeah.
like $700, hire a teacher.
Yeah, like a lot of people get so focused, like in image.
Did we lose him?
Perfect before they even try. And that doesn't really bode well for anybody. Like, if you want to do something, start doing something. Like, it doesn't matter. You can grab the cheapest guitar for $50 that's barely being held together, and that's good enough to learn. But a lot of guys will, and I've seen it time over time at, like, again, when I grew up, I know I was in a lot of bands myself, so I knew a lot of guys that played multiple instruments. I also knew way more people that wanted to do that and had guitars sit in their closet doing nothing. And at the end of the day, what that is, the guy who goes and thinks a $700 guitar is going to magically teach him how to play, it's a coping mechanism, right? Like, no different than what we were talking about before, is if I can't reach that perfect whatever right off the bat, well, why not try? But again, in this instance, they're putting that onus of learning, as weird as it sounds, on the guitar and not on themselves.
Well, guitar shopping is fun. You can go guitar shopping and you can still have that fantasy of, I don't know, being a rock star one day or something. Whereas when I actually have to,
100%.
when I commit to it, I start paying like $45 a week to take lessons, and I sit down at my first lesson, and this shit's
Oh, it's
hard. And I
70
can't play
now. It's
guitar.
70 now, Arch. It's 70 now, Arch. It's expensive now.
Oh,
Lessons are expensive.
show
Yeah.
my age. Okay, yeah, $70 a lesson now. Like once I start on my first lesson, it's hard. It sucks. This is going to take me years of work. Suddenly the fantasy is gone. Now I'm either going to do this work or I'm going to quit after my third lesson and that's it. My fantasy being Guitar Hero is over.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
right. And like, even with my kids, because I'm really big into music, I remember my daughter said, she's like, I want to learn to play piano. And I'm like, well, go ahead. And she's like, we don't have a piano in the house. I'm like, what are you talking about? Your brother has, those cheap little Walmart keyboards that only
that's how I
have
learned.
like 2 octaves. I'm like,
We lost them again.
If you
Trip,
can't
are
play
you there?
that, you can't play 88 keys, so you might as well start somewhere.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? Like, it has the keys, 2 octaves, good enough.
6 strings. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And nowadays you
And
get those like cheap electric pianos too. They're not like, a baby grand will cost a lot of money, but like an electric piano with Korean ones or something, you get one of those knockoffs. They're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it
Casios are
doesn't
cheap.
matter.
I learned to play drums on the $250 drum kit. Those sounded like shit, but it was great. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then you get when you get better, you then and only then do you get a better like drum kit, better sounding drum kit. And
To add to that analogy, right? Like, I haven't thrown away my first keyboard. It's still in and I don't have the heart to, right? I learned on that keyboard. There's history on it. I remember the days where I slammed my fist because I couldn't learn a song, and it's there and it's crumbling, it's falling apart, but it's still there. And I don't have the heart to throw it away. But a lot of people do. because they see this whole journey of learning a skill as painful, and every part, like my dad would threw away his uniforms the day he got out of the military, and there's some people that keep them forever, right? And the way I think of it is like this: me disavowing the red pill and saying the red pill didn't help me when I like get a wife or I've solved my problems is like throwing away your first piano, right? It's like you're supposed to love the struggle. You're supposed to look back and be like, I saved myself, but the red pill gave me the tools. And now I throw it behind me. And if I ever need the tools again, I'll go back to that piano and relearn how to do chords again and all that stuff. And
Well, I
I
mean,
tell guys like you can look down this red pill stuff, but one day that married red pill blog is gonna look really juicy when your wife's mad at you. You know,
dude,
it's gonna look really nice.
most of that garbage is branding. So let's say you learn on a $40 Yamaha acoustic guitar, and then all of a sudden Ibanez is around the corner. And it's like, hey, you want us to sponsor you? And it's like, oh, Yamaha's trash. I always wanted to play Ibanez. It's like, fuck off. No, fuck
Yeah.
off. You learned on a cheap, crappy acoustic guitar, and that went with you to all the first performances, and now all of a sudden it's like it's not good enough, and you need only Ibanez. It's like, fuck off. It's bought and paid for branding, all of it. It's the same with like Homath and the Red Pill and all these other guys where it's like, I'm leaving the manosphere. No, it's just not monetizable anymore for you. Just admit it. It's like, oh, it's not profitable anymore, so I'm going to do something else. But they can't do that because, that's when you peek behind the curtain and see the Wizard of Oz. So
at least they're trying. A lot of people think like, okay, I'm not making any money doing this red pill stuff. I'm leaving the red pill. I'm going to give you a real Archwinger notes. Like all those old men don't know what the hell they're talking about. I'm going to tell you my secrets. I'm announcing my departure, and then I tell you pretty much just copy paste the red pill. But I put Archwinger's name on top of it. Maybe there's money in that. I don't think there is anymore. I think too many people have tried that.
No, these days there's just money in copying your old Reddit posts and then putting them under my name on Substack.
Or appearing on Rolo's show and then saying that the red pill sucks a year later after you've milked every single red pill consecrator's clout.
Yeah, you think he'd learn?
No,
he just loves it too much. I mean, he makes a lot of money, like in the drama. You get super chats, fans, people like you. You get a big media presence. Like it's fun for some people.
And modern day rock star. Yeah. Can't blame him. I mean, I love giving him like a little bit of nudge, but that's about it.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a lot of people frame the red pill as some kind of group of guys that are going to get together one day and teach women accountability and all that stuff. And then they come here, and yes, we have to say things and be a little bit bombastic to get their foot in the door. But imagine their shock when we look directly at them via this cool magical screen, and we tell them, "Hey, dude, you know that you have to tell your wife that this bothers you, right?" And they're like, but what if she says this? I'm like, well, those are your choices. Make a choice. What are you gonna do? Then you tell them about the scoreboard, and then you tell them you teach them all about dread, and they're like, "This sounds lame." And I'm like, "Well, you're in a lame position in life. What do you think the red pill was? Like some kind of cool cigar lounge, war room of masculine excellence, or whatever Ryan calls it,
dude,
where we're all
guys
figured it out. We only accept the coolest dudes, or do you think it's like guys that are just like, my wife hasn't touched me in 1 year. What the fuck do I do?"
No, it's like the guys didn't come here because they had the shit together. Guys came here because they didn't have their shit together. Most of the guys coming into the red pill, to put it bluntly, are losers who are trying not to be losers. That's the whole thing. Like trying
the best
not to be a loser.
red pillars, like the original, I guess the OGs were like, dudes in their 30s who got the wrong end of a divorce or a relationship, and they're like, what the fuck? And they start trying to date again, and they're like, everything that worked in 1997 doesn't work anymore. I have to learn how things really work now, and they're learning, kind of stumbling through it. Like that was the best of them. And then these guys who don't know what the hell's going on because they just got dumped, they're figuring it out, and they're kind of middle aged. Like they get joined by like legit incels who are like 4'7" and bald at age 17 or something, and together this team of unlikely superheroes is going to figure out women, and like some way somehow we cobbled together this space on the internet, but we weren't winners when we got here. We just figured it out.
Wow. Why did you stop trying to save the world and get a hobby, Kaiba?
Yeah, I wish I had that clip.
Yeah, I found it once, but it's a very low quality video. It's horrible.
One of the things that happens in a male brain when he talks to an attractive woman or he sees an attractive woman is that your problem solving goes up. You start solving problems and all that stuff. So it's like, how much percentage of men, or how many men do you think, where the minute they get some female attention or they're in front of a girl, stop thinking about what everyone else can do for them to make this process easier, and they start thinking, what do I got to do to get this girl to like me, or what do I got to say? And that's the beautiful part. Like, you are a problem solving thing. Why would you take that away from yourself? Why would you just let someone else solve your problem? Doesn't that feel like emasculating to guys? Like,
Because it's
you don't want to get
easy.
don't you want to get a girl and be like, it was all me. It wasn't because my church said she had to marry me, you know? I
Dude,
enjoy solving
do you know
problems.
how many of those guys are out there? I am seeing, and I remember this, I am seeing the most heinous cretins from the evangelical church. Like, these guys are like, oh my God, they're a walking, talking mess. And they still manage to land a girlfriend. But they're all like from Peru or something. They're all from like the missionaries or to third world countries. And I'm like, this can't be possible that this girl actually is into him. This just can't. But they eat it. All of them eat it. It's like, God has gifted me a wife. It's like, oh God, no,
Oh
no.
man,
And
then you
still,
lose your woman and God when this goes south.
yeah,
Need both.
but they still don't do anything about themselves. Nothing. Now, some of these girls actually stay with them because, well, it's God that says it. But that's why marriage is not a success metric. Like, what I would deem a success metric is like, how often are you still fucking? You know, like, yeah, I'm with this woman for 32 years, but she hasn't touched my dick in 25. That's not successful to me. No, honesty. That is not a sign of an affectionate relationship. Yet every time, it's only, oh, if people just married more. No. What if people just started fucking more, you know? Maybe if they did that, they'd finally get off. They'd finally wouldn't be as stressed out all the time. And maybe, just maybe, they would be genuinely happier.
The people you're
And
talking
then they,
to, that is the problem, Jack. Like, people started fucking more, just started fucking who they want to more, and that's like the core problem, you know. It's the reason
yeah,
that,
but
well,
I mean,
if people
details.
married more, they'd marry me.
I
Mhm.
liken it to that lazy guy or that guy in the office where he always finds a problem and makes a mountain out of a molehill because he wants to keep his job, and he does it for the
Dwight?
optics.
No, which one is
Maybe
that
it's
from the
Dwight.
office?
No, I'm just saying in general. But yes, maybe in the show The Office, there's a guy like that. Maybe it's Dwight or Creed or whoever. Um, but I will say that that's how it feels like. Like, there's a political problem, and like, for example, the birth rate crisis. We got world stakes that every guy here is responsible for. Hey, some girl in Alabama or some girl in New York City doesn't want to have kids. Fix it. I'm just like, dude, I don't know
Dude,
what to do. Like,
I've
what do you
seen
want me
chicks
to
from
do?
Alabama. I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I've
but
always been a big. Oh, sorry, Nick. Didn't want to cut you
no, go
off.
ahead.
I was
No, that
always
was it,
going to say
Trevor.
kind of like what we're talking about. And I've held this belief for quite some time, but all the guys who are like, we need to fix the world, blah, 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 blah. I've come to the conclusion that a lot of society's problems could be fixed if men in general were just fixed. You fix men, you fix society. Because women in a great relationship are not caring, like being a Karen. They're not being super political. They're not whining and bitching constantly. They're not dancing around like a goddamn goon after a family man gets shot. Right? There will still be those chicks, but whatever. Let them waste, let them have their cats, whatever. Most chicks are well adjusted. But the problem is what they have to sample from kind of sucks. And can you blame them for turning to politics or shitting on men? Like, could you imagine if your only food option was rice and cat food? You wouldn't be terribly happy about that, would you?
Nope.
Yeah, you'd be lashing out. You'd be lashing
Yes.
out at people, even people that don't like you. You know.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
funny you
Sorry,
mentioned that
you like.
stripper. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm done.
Nope. You were saying? Oh,
No, I'm done.
well, it's funny you mentioned that stripper because yesterday, like, there used to be this girl. She was like the most athletic chick in high school, did kickboxing, did judo, did karate, everything. And she was a good looking girl. And I ran into her yesterday and she got her lips done and she's reached 30 and now she's all alone in her apartment with 2 cats. And I just can't help but think, what the hell happened? Like, what happened that you ended up like this? And she's still in great shape. She's still in absolute great shape. But I'm like, you really couldn't find a guy who would want to pick you up? Like, I remember you. You were great. You're still not ugly. Far from it. But you are old. It's like, I don't know why. But she's not insufferable either. She isn't. She's still very pleasant. Yet, here they are, alone with cats.
Should probably let perfect be the enemy of good.
Probably, where it's like, well, I'm a black belt in karate, so he needs to be. So, yeah,
It's like
I don't know.
It's like one more please said. The right is turning into Greta Thunberg. They're
How dare
outraged.
you?
How dare you? How dare you? And I'm just like, whew, man, learn helplessness. It's very interesting, and we gotta. There are a lot of things that we do as men that it's sneaky. It sneaks by us, and we ask for help, and we're just like, wait a minute. You know, even the act of voting, is like some kind of like someone else, please solve my problems or something like that. But honestly, I think most men on a subconscious level are voting with their feet on certain things, and that's good. Like, hey, Star Wars sucks and movies and games, so we're not going to buy them. I mean, that's good. That's a good thing. Hey, marriage is kind of wonky right now, or it's not. Let's walk away, and they're doing that. So it's like a lot of men believe. Yeah, there you go. A lot of men believe that there is no hope, but I'm like, there is. It's just not violent. It's just people voting with the only power that they have, which is their money and their wallets and their feet. So it's like, do you want a violent thing? You think like violence is going to be where you step outside of your house, you go down to the town square, you shoot a liberal in his leg, and then you go back and have dinner with your wife? You think that's going to be no, it's going to be shitty, and the thing is, I look at it like this with the doxing, right? Yeah, there's going to be liberal assholes that are like celebrating an innocent man's death, whatever. But some of them are doctors, and some of those doctors are going to save right-wing people's lives. There was a doctor that actually got fired. I'm like, what are we doing here, man? Like, yeah, he's an asshole, but at least he's not like robbing stores or is a teacher. He's actually a high performing person in society and all that stuff. So I don't know. I believe that everyone's skirting around the issue, and the issue is men realize that the only thing they can do is be awesome. There is nothing left. There is nothing. Rote with your feet for things you don't want to do, that you're not supposed to do, or that you're not forced to do, and just be awesome. And that's really all you got. What else are you gonna do? Complaining doesn't make you awesome. Tweeting doesn't make you awesome. Yeah, you get more followers. Yeah, but you're tweeting off the corpse of a man that just died. Like, how awesome is that, really? So it's just like, at the end of the day, that's all you got, and that's what all learned helplessness is men not wanting to realize what to do, what's necessary. You want women, you're gonna have to get rejected. There is no way. The only way out is through. There is no way. If you want more money, at some point you have to work hard, even if it's for 6 months. But you have to work hard and then be smart. Like, hey, go for this promotion, go for this, go for that, whatever. Hold on, the dog's barking.
Tadashi. No, but that's the thing. And what's happening now, unfortunately, is like, yes, the assassination of a political commentator is now being used as leverage to get other people what they don't want to work for. And
Yeah.
that is kind of despicable.
It's
as
also
well.
muddied by the internet age. I mean, people figured out, hey, I can make money on the internet and not have to get a real job. So somebody's going to try to you be pro that guy. Somebody's gonna like dance around like a fool, saying glad he's dead. Everyone's trying to hit it, go viral, be edgy or anti-edgy or something. Because if I just win the internet slot machine, I can make money and not have to get a real job, which I guess is another form of learned helplessness. Rather than working hard, maybe this internet thing will, the slot machine will pay off, and I'll get internet money instead.
Well, and then what do you do with the internet money? And then what?
Well, once you have internet money, then you'll have a problem-free life. You'll be a mega gajillionaire, and you can just go do whatever you want, right?
I mean, problems follow you anywhere, no matter how rich you are. No matter how rich you are, problems will always find you. Always. You can't buy your way out of trouble. I mean, you can buy your way out of a lot of things, but trouble always finds a
Well, I have to
way.
buy my way out of my mortgage. I mean, if someone wants to give me $1 gajillion, I'll shill whatever they want.
I mean, you're chosen people.
Yeah.
You've got it somewhere.
Mhm. You know, or you guys, you could just blame Archer's people for everything. That also
Yeah.
works, apparently.
Oh, it's totally us.
Yeah. It's always a path. Learned helplessness 2.0. It's
No,
always
no, I
every
mean,
generation has their version, you know.
I'm only half, so like, I'm not inducted into cool people club. I just like go to synagogue like a sucker. But apparently, the world domination, they haven't clued me in yet. But I think if I behave well enough, they'll tell me next week.
Yeah, you could become a celestial dragon and sit on top of the Grand Line at Mary Joie. That was a lot of One Piece references that I think the half of the audience didn't even get.
Not even me, because I'm not there yet. So
Yeah.
Lame. Nuke lame.
and that kind of brings me for the anime nerds in the chat why I use the thumbnail, right? It's because the relationship that Vegeta and Trunks have is one of where Trunks is a guy from the future who's got his family killed, right, by these two robots, androids. And he has convinced himself he needs help to defeat these androids. A lot of anime and movies are based on this trope where some character has a traumatic past and he seeks help from other people to defeat or to go back and kill the person who killed his family or avenge the family, right? And it turns out that he never needed help. He just needed people to guide him, to point him in the right direction, and he would do the rest. Like, hey, don't do this, do that, and then he was able to go back and avenge his family. And same thing, it's crazy that we're seeing a common literary trope of hey, you you have to save yourself play out on the timeline whenever there's a tragedy, and people don't see it for themselves. We'll watch it in a movie, we'll celebrate it, but whenever in our real lives we constantly asking for help from other people, right? And honestly, pay attention to the stories that are compelling to people. For example, like the new Spider-Man. I mean, I know it's not a good movie, but there's a scene in the new Spider-Man where Peter Parker is getting crushed by rubble, right? And he starts calling out for help, even though he's getting crushed, right? And out of nowhere, he gets the strength. He lifts that shit off of him, and then he realizes, hey, I gotta be smarter. I can't. I made a mistake, and I got crushed by some rubble. I called for help, and no one was there. And that is what the progression of a person. The faster you get to that point where you call for help, no one answers back, right? And then you realize I opted into a stupid mistake. I'm not making that mistake, and I have to figure out a better way to do these things. That is when you finally get to the other side, and then you look at all these other people as silly because you're just like, hey, they'll get there eventually. They have to save themselves.
Yeah. And, most of the people will never get there. Most of the people will never get there. They will always rely on somebody else to save them because they have just no idea how much ability they actually have. I mean, that's why anime is so popular. The whole hero's journey, and you see the guy go from nothing to something. Why is Berserk so immensely popular? Because Guts keeps going. I mean, he goes through a lot. Let's be honest here. Oh my God. He goes through a lot.
Also, though, he doesn't have to do anything. He just has to get really angry and try really hard, and things work for him. I mean, I don't want to call him a Mary Sue. He does go through a lot, but like all he has to do is get really pissed off and hit things even harder with his sword 9 times out of 10. Like he has a pretty one-note solution.
I don't fully agree. But I've read the manga, so maybe that's why. I mean, you probably have as well, by the way.
I mean, I understand that. I understand there's a lot of I understand there's a trope of like teamwork and friendship always saves the day. but that friendship is based on that they believe in you, right? That they believe like, hey, this guy gives a shit, so we'll help him, right? Same thing when guys come to the red pill or the married red pill. Like, do you got like if a guy doesn't lift weights, do we really care about him? Do we really care about helping him, or at least at least tries to get into the gym, does something? No, we don't care
This
that
is
much
why
because just like
Kaiba is a better character than Yugi. Because Kaiba did it all by himself and he wanted to play fair, and then Yugi just cheated.
yeah, the power of well, and the thing is, the power of friendship, whatever the literary trope of like teamwork and all that stuff. It's like we see it as like, no, we gotta band together, And I'm like, no, you gotta prove you are an asset to whatever cause you're doing, and when you do that, people will maybe not get behind you, but at least acknowledge you as being not an idiot.
Hey, Stripper, why is that? Because every relationship is.
Transactional.
Thank you.
But
Yeah,
actually, I can kind of speak. Again, I'm going to take this in a weird direction, but it does relate. So I'm on the board of directors for an advisory group for my fraternity. And last year, everyone was kind of thinking that this would be the last year. Like they were in really rough shape. And you have to understand that a lot of these guys who are 18 to 22, they've been raised by helicopter parents. So they've never had the opportunity to fail. Were never given the tool sets to learn how to get shit done. This new class came in with the understanding that like no one's going to help them. Like we're there to guide them, but in terms of actually doing the work, it's on them. And they understood that. And so far, with like 2-3 weeks into school, they have pulled off one of the most successful rushes that they've pulled off in a decade. And I was speaking with the president over text when I heard the good news. And I'm one of those people that I can be an absolute dick when you're fucking up, but will sing your praises when you're doing well. And I gave him a lot of praise, told him to pass it along to all the boys, and he said thank you. And my response to that was, don't thank me. You guys put in the work. I'm just letting you know. And I think that's something that a lot of young guys need to get in their heads, that not only are their failures on them, but their successes are too. Like when you start going to the gym and you start with just the bar and maybe 25s, and then after years and years of work, you finally get the 225. Yeah, were there people who spotted you? Were there people who you learned from how to get better form? Maybe what compound exercises to do to get that strong? Certainly. But at the end of the day, nobody did that work except for you. You're the one who went in there and lifted those weights. Nobody else did it for you. And so or at least the way I see it is, to snap a guy out of learned helplessness, you have to shift that paradigm where people who guide you, yes, they're helping you, but at the end of the day, the work is still on you. And if you're willing to put in that work and continue to see small successes and don't give up when you have setbacks, it's a really motivating thing for men and snaps them out of that learned helplessness, because then they realize that they can achieve things. Even if it's not the most optimal, they can get better, but it's all on them, which kind of ties back to the no one's there to save you, right?
I missed that entire dialogue. What are you talking about?
I'm not repeating it. Basically, the TLDR is to get people to learn helplessness. They have to understand that not only are there failures on them, but so are their successes, and to encourage guys by whenever they want to do that weird thing that guys do, where when they have a success, they for some reason don't want to take credit for it, and be like, oh, thank you so much for everything you've done. And I'm a big believer, and I 100% picked this up from Ryan, is just to say, like, look, man, it wasn't me. I may have helped give you the tools or helped you understand something, but like at the end of the day, you're the one who put in the work. So the success is all on you.
Yep. That's it. Successes and failures. You have the keys to your own kingdom. Now use them. What's that?
Shameless plug. Here's an article I wrote about what we're talking about today. So I'll just TLDR it as best I can. Essentially, I write that us versus them, that's how they get you. They, meaning the people who benefit from your confusion, dependence, and mediocrity, like we're seeing right now, want you to stay where you're at, to become a follower, to keep looking up to them for answers instead of becoming self-sufficient and choosing your own destiny. It's incredibly effective. It plays to the part of you that still wants a big brother, a leader, someone to show you the way. It keeps believing one of the most dangerous lies, that we have each other's back when it comes to dating. And you could dating is interchangeable. It could be any societal problem or any problem in your own life, right? Um, we actually don't. You are alone in your dating problems. This might sound bleak, but it's actually freeing because now you know. You don't need an internet daddy to tell you how to live. You don't need some guru to bless your next move. What you need is to figure out what you want, and that right there is the scariest question a man can ask himself. What do I want? When you ask yourself this question, your mind will instinctively pull in other people. I want a family. I want to live near my best friends, doing cool stuff. But those answers are shortcuts or easier ways to dodge the real weight of the question. They still hinge on others being part of the plan. That's not the point. The real question is, what do you want that involves no one else? Not her, not your boys, not your future kids, just you. And when you truly ask yourself this, expect your stomach to drop or your mind to go blank. That's normal. Most men have been programmed their entire lives to serve others and put themselves last. So when you finally ask what you want, don't be surprised if you feel a chill go down your spine. And there's two more paragraphs, guys. Bear with me. You'll feel alone in your quest to get what you want out of life, and that's the point. No one is coming to save you. No one has your best interests at heart except you. And while it's easy to say this in a motivational tone that appeals to the masculine part of you, let me ask you this: how many men actually believe it? How many live it? Most say no one will save them, but they still hinge their happiness on women, politicians, friends, family, and 100 other things they don't control. They're still hunting for validation everywhere but inside themselves. Being alone might seem like a sad way to go through life, but in dating and becoming a man, you have to go at it alone. Why is being alone in your girl problems not so bad? Because you get the thrill of the hunt. Every girl you land is because of you, not some group of you're part of. Even if you use lines or advice from somewhere else, it was you who delivered them. It was you who risked rejection. It was you who carried it across to the finish line. Once you get used to taking rejection on the chin and start getting real results with women, you'll be glad you did it solo. And when other men, especially ones who never tried, start dragging you down and call you selfish, understand this: they don't care about you. They want their own failures validated. That's it. Skill with women takes work. They didn't put it in. They weren't with you shooting in the gym. No one is coming to save you. There is no movement, no plan, no hero. You're alone. You're the only one with your best interests at heart. I don't give a fuck about you, but maybe my experiences will help you get where you want to go. Now fuck off and live life on your terms. And with that, guys, what are your closing statements? I know I kind of took a long time to read that, but
That
I
was a
thought it was good.
TLDR. That was just the R.
That was just the art, my ego, it's my ego. I had to read my whole article for everyone.
No, it was really well said, though, and exactly the point that I was trying to make, except far better articulated.
Well, I mean, I was reading from Britain, like, yeah, you can't compare, like, your writing's probably better than mine, Stripper.
Oh, dude,
So,
no, it's not. I assure you.
well,
I
at least
suck
your
at stuff
experience,
like
like,
this,
you've lived longer than me. Yeah, like, Stripper, what are you, like 85 or something? Just
Actually, I just passed the century mark.
so, but yeah, it's just no one's coming to save you. I know it sounds like cliche at this point, but we really mean that. We really, really mean that.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I haven't got much to add to that. It's like, stop being afraid of the unknown is the big one for me. It's like, if a girl treats you shitty, there are other girls out there. You have the opportunity, especially now with your phones and wherever here, with this little thing, you have access to almost the majority of the women in your area. What's preventing you from, trading her in? If she treats you like shit, there's somebody who won't. And you decide how you're going to be treated and how you want to be treated, and do something about it. And you decide what happens in your life and what doesn't. Like, of course, there are always overarching situations you can't do anything about, but you can prepare for them. Stop letting other people dictate your life. That's kind of it for me. You want me to plug everything right away, or do you want to do that after?
Yeah, no, plug everything right away. We got two family. We got two dads here. We're more busy than we are, so we gotta get them out of here.
So I'll plug everything right away. I have an essay about this. Fear will kill your dating experience. It's on my Substack. I wrote a new essay yesterday that was released. Women don't care about your emotions. If you're going through a difficult time right now, please, for the love of God, don't put it on your woman. She's going to resent you for it. My YouTube channel can be found in the chat right here. And if you want a physical copy of my writing, oh, look at that. Look at that. Even Nuke endorses it. Then you know it's good, because On Women is now on paperback and Kindle with a lovely cover.
Using it as a coffee.
Oh, yeah. You can use it as a door stopper. You can do it as a door stopper. But a beautiful cover by Mr. Ryan Stone. 200 pages of condensed red pill lessons, failures, and successes are right here in the chat.
There it is, Rule 0. I opened it and it went straight to Rule 0, guys. What are the chances?
There you go. It's a sign.
Yeah. So Arch, any closing thoughts?
I guess the whole learned helplessness thing cuts both ways. I mean, if you think I'm going to vote for this guy, then he'll make things better, or I'm going to find a right online article or guru or group that'll make things better, it won't.
Or the right guy's going to die, and
they can glom onto that. But it's the other way as well. Like, well, there's the negative, learned helplessness. Well, that's just the way it is. Like, it's feminism's fault. It's the chosen people's fault. It's society, the government. It's everything's rigged against me. It's not my fault. That negative stuff also is learned helplessness. At the end of the day, all you can do is put one foot ahead of the other. Like Jack said, there's a bajillion women out there, and just talk to the girl, go to the gym, and if you get your life from undateable to having a fat mean girlfriend, the world's just very, very slightly better for you and for her. And maybe tomorrow your fat mean girlfriend's a little less fat, a little less mean. You trade her in for the next model or something. But you do what you can. You plateau somewhere, and that might be where your life ends up. But at least you made the choice. You accepted the consequences, good or bad, and you picked a direction. You went and you took the journey rather than sitting around saying, waiting for someone to, I don't know, pave the road for you. This was his plug stuff. I have a Substack, archwinger.substack.com. I think by now I have more Substack articles on that I have back in like old school Archwinger Reddit. I've beaten my old record or something, and not all of it is quite as punchy because I don't hate women as much in my old age, but some of it still hits pretty good.
Every unhappy wife is a what victim, Jack?
It's a what?
Classic Arch. We got to bring back evil Archwinger.
I'm too old for this shit, man. Like my testosterone's in the gutter now. I'm just not angry at the world anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm getting to that point where I just don't care. I'm just like, wow, I'm really chill. Like, I can't be angry anymore. I'm just not angry. So what about you, Stripper? What do you got? Closing thoughts?
I'm on Substack. You can find me there doing shit. But to close this off, I think the best way is to think about the serenity prayer, because that's really kind of your way out, right? There's going to be things that you have no control over and things that you do. So I can't remember the serenity prayer off the top of my head, but I'll probably butcher it. But the gist of it is have the courage to change the things you can, and the courage to endure the things you can't, and then have the wisdom to know which is which.
Yeah. Pretty much. And the wisdom to know which is which is the hard part. Because once you know you can change something, you probably can figure it out. But all right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on to talk to the people.
I always like coming on things.
Yeah. God damn it. God damn it. It took me like 2 seconds to process that. And Jack, take us out.
Toodles.